that way out. So, as mentioned by your professor, so today my talk would be on rural tourism, basically on rural tourism, and I would like to know which language would be more comfortable for all of you before I start. Hindi, English, or it's a mix of Hindi, English.
Yeah, English they understand all. Hindi also is fine. Hindi, English, both mixture is all right.
Perfect, perfect. See, matlab there must be some, there are some feelings which comes only in
Yes,
Hindi, so
बराबर है.
I'll keep in Hindi and English.
Yes, मिट्टी की खुशबू तो आनी ही चाहिए.
एग्जैक्टली मिट्टी की खुशबू आनी चाहिए, तो इसीलिए हम दोनों चीजों को मिक्स करते हुए चलेंगे.
Yes, ma'am.
So, as Madam has told me that you all are on OGTs, you all have been placed and you people are working, and you are fourth semester students of MBA Travel and Tourism, right?
Yes.
So, to start with, I'm sure you people must be hearing about rural tourism from some nook and corner of the country these days, because this is one of the very important niche tourism which has been picked up by Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. And furthermore, India is having the G20 presidency, as all of us are aware about it, that we are hosting these G20 meetings in India this year, which have started in the month of January, and it will end up in the month of October. So the first tourism working group meeting of G20 in India was on rural tourism only. So that is how we started, picking up the rural tourism. So the rural tourism in India definitely has come up as a niche tourism, and very lately we understood the importance of rural tourism and developing and promoting the rural tourism. But if I talk about on a global perspective, then globally rural tourism has taken up the shape, and there are countries who are working on rural tourism, who are working on their villages, who are working on their rural outsets for the promotion of travel and tourism in those villages. So first we need to really understand what exactly is rural tourism. Generally what happens is ki whenever you talk about rural tourism, or whenever somebody hear about rural tourism, they immediately think about a village, कि एक विलेज होगा, देन एक विलेज के विलेजर्स होंगे, विलेज शुड बी विलेज को डेवलप करना होगा, वहां पे टेक्नोलॉजी लाना होगा, वहां पे इनोवेशंस लाना होगा, देयर शुड बी more of infrastructure development at village. So immediately as soon as we hear about rural tourism, these all things come in our mind. Definitely it definitely talks about village, but at the same time rural tourism is not only about development of village, it is about development of the villagers. So this is one thing which we need to keep in mind, that it does not pertain at all to infrastructure, to technology, to road construction, to hotel construction, or to so and so. It talks about involvement of community in the tourism by the way of offering the rural product and services what they have. So the first and foremost thing to understand is that rural tourism has nothing to do with um, the on beat, yeah, the hype tourism, or the new normal luxury tourism, or leisure and pleasure tourism, as we which we have which are seeing since years. So the first is, it is an offbeat market. This we need to understand. This is an offbeat tourist market, an offbeat tourist market whereby tourist is not looking for the regular products and services what he gets at the different places where he visits. So rural tourism in Indian context, if I talk about, it is like developing a village as it is, keeping it intact. If there is an if the villagers have the occupation of fishing, then fishing would be the main form of experience in that particular village, and then village would be developed for the tourists to come in, enjoy fishing, enjoying staying in the herds, enjoying staying, eating the way they people eat, enjoying taking out the digging out, and enjoy getting into the farms, getting into the fields. So this is where we talk about the rural tourism. So one major aspect to understand here is this: the India has 6 lakhs, more than 6 lakhs of villages, but we can't say that all 6 lakh villages can be the rural tourism village. A village and a rural tourism village both have different identity, both have different entity, which we need to understand. Every village cannot offer rural tourism services and products. Similarly, every rural village which is offering such services and products can be cannot be a rural tourism village. Reason being, when I say more than 6 lakh villages, then the first and foremost reason what we need to understand for the purpose of developing rural tourism is the major occupation of the of the local community. What is the major occupation of the local community? The second thing to understand is the connectivity. These 6 lakh villages might not be connected to the roads, to the national highways, or to the nearby destinations, or to the nearby cities. So that is why making them impossible to reach. So the second thing we need to understand is the connectivity. The third thing we need to understand, the offering of services to the tourist. If a village does have good our good rural settings, good landscape, everything is quite well enough, so what we can offer to the tourists, but they are not there is no accommodation, proper form of accommodation. There is no security to stay at night. There is no electricity to, there are long cut of electricity for around 4 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours, and then you use generator to make them happy. That is not called rurality at all. Because do the villagers use generators or inverters? No, of course not. They enjoy the rural settings, they enjoy the natural settings, and that is where you need to understand that what exactly you are going to offer to the tourist. Are you offering a tourist a AC room in a village with 5-star facility, or you're offering a villagers living with the community the way community live, the way community sit in the chopal, in the the panchayat happens, or wo panchayat mein there is a big tree in the center of the village. Raat ko, sham ko khana kha karke everybody sitting out there enjoying local festivals, local folk dances are happening, or maybe there is somebody's marriage in this particular village, and everybody is moving towards that marriage, and these group of tourists who have come to the village would also like to see how this rural wedding happens. So that is where we talk about the rurality. So the major concept which we need to understand in rural tourism is, of course, having the rurality, the essence of rural tourism. We cannot take away this rurality from village. If we take away this rurality from village, definitely we are not developing a rural tourism village. Now the second thing, during my introduction, Pooja has mentioned that I have worked for the development of Heritage Tourism Village of India. This is the first Heritage Tourism Village which is being recognized by UNESCO, and it is known as Raghurajpur, which is nearby Puri. It is 13 kilometers from Puri. Where if even when you Google it out, you will understand this particular village had three major things to as in their USP. The first USP was their Gotipua dance form. So this particular village is known for the Gotipua dance form. This is the ancient dance form, which is also known to be the mother dance form of Odissi dance. So Odissi had come on later. Initially, Gotipua had come. The next USP of this dance form was this dance form is this performance is done only and only by the males of the villages. Males of the villages are even attired as females, and the dance form is being done. Dance is being performed. There is no females who are actually taken up in this dance form. The third reason was, USP was this has become endangered. This had become endangered when we started researching, that we understood that males have stopped performing these dance forms because of the reason they did not get the proper platform. So they were they were counted as a third genders if they perform such kind of dance form. So they had left this particular dance form. So this art was becoming endangered. The second USP what Rajpur had was the palm leaves paintings. You must have heard about the palm leaf paintings. Palm leaf paintings are the most minute paintings, and as well as they are most costliest paintings if we talk about in an international market. So palm leaf paintings were getting endangered. People were not practicing it for being so minute and being so so tedious in their art form. The third USP, what we could understood was the coconut shell handicrafts. So the leftover shells of coconut were developed into the handicraft items like the bowls or maybe the lamps, or in different art forms. So these were the three USPs of that particular village, apart from being nearest to Puri. Like 13 kilometers from Puri, Puri is a full-fledged developed city. It had a connecting road to Raghurajpur, so we took up that particular place. But we could not develop it as a rural tourism village. Reason being, all these three USPs belong to the heritage, intangible heritage. So that is why I said that rural tourism is where you need to talk about the USP. The first and foremost is what is the USP. But when we developed this village, we did not kept it as it is. We developed the drainage also. We have developed the connectivity. We constructed the new guest houses. We constructed the lodges. So the whole new construction was done. When the whole new construction was done, then it is definitely not the rural tourism. Why? Because we are actually giving it a new shape. We are changing the whole image of that particular village. So that village had was transformed into the category of heritage tourism village. So now I need to make I had taken this example so that you guys understand the difference. Every village cannot be a rural tourism village. This is why I said that we have more than 6 lakh villages. Every village must be having their own there must be their own USPs. There must be their own art and craft, or maybe we have villages now in India who are known as solar villages. We have villages in India which is known as cleanest village, green village. So the cleanest village does not come under the category of rural tourism. It comes under the category of green village. Similarly, the solar vanilla village does not come under the category of rural. It comes under the category of sustainable village. So we cannot put everything under rural tourism, but at the same time, rural tourism is a bigger umbrella. It is a bigger umbrella which has different kind of entities under it. Now why? Because as I said, everything can't be into rural tourism. Similarly, everything somewhere or else, when it is a village, and if it is as rural as it was, then it comes under the umbrella of rural tourism. So for this particular purpose, Government of India has taken up initiative in the year 2021, whereby a niche tourism division was established in Government of India, so that few niche tourism could be taken up and can be developed. Now, there were 4 major niche tourism which were taken up. The first was rural tourism. The second was sustainable tourism. The third was ecotourism, and the fourth was adventure tourism. Now, these 4 forms of tourism were taken up by Government of India for the further development, because they could look forward that they would be next 10 years there would be more tourists for these particular 4 forms of tourism in India, to purpose of tourism in India. And then the second reason was, after COVID-19, tourists had become more conscious about where they are going, where they are living, what kind of a place it is, how natural the place it is, because oxygen was sold. Just imagine, during COVID-19, something which is always available in free was sold, and people were looking forward to a place which is clean, green, natural. They have every kind of all kind of natural resources available, so that they can stay back and they can enjoy those, and they can be healthier, and they don't have to stay on artificial things like artificial oxygen, or maybe the food and everything. So after COVID-19, there was a change in the pattern of the tourists had looked forward for a more authentic place to visit, where they don't have much to do, but they have more experiences to gain. And that is where our rural tourism fit in. Rural tourism offers experiences to gain rather than activities to do. So we need to understand that when we talk about rural tourism, it is about creating memories, it is about making experiences, it is about giving more and more experience, offering experiences your tourists. That can be boating, fishing, hunting, farming, or maybe digging, maybe planting, can be as per the definitely the rural settings of that particular rural USP of that particular village. It can be craft also, can be dancing also. It purely depends upon the village they are in. So when Government of India took these 4 forms of tourism in hand, they also established central nodal agencies, These central nodal agencies work as the department of government of India. It's like a separate entity who are working for the promotion and development of every form of tourism. So like for example, I work for central nodal agency for rural tourism. Similarly, there is a central nodal agency for sustainable, for eco, for adventure also, and everybody works for the development of that form of tourism. Now after this agency, central nodal agency was established, then we understood that India does not have a separate policy or a strategy on rural tourism. India has one policy or one which is the national tourism policy, and everything comes under that national tourism policy only. So after this central nodal agency was established, we understood we do not focus on one form of tourism at all. We focus on many form of tourism which is written in our national tourism policy. So if you want to focus on one form of tourism, if we want to develop that particular form of tourism, we need to devise a policy for it. So now in India, we have two major policies in rural tourism. The first is National Strategy and Roadmap for the Development of Rural Tourism in India. And the second is National Strategy for the Rural Homestays in India. So these were the two policies which were devised. These policies specifically speaks about the different pillars of rural tourism. So like for example, I'll just give a gist of it. The pillars include the digitalization also. Like digitalization in the sense, how do we market a rural tourism? Our villages are there, our villages are developed, they are ready to welcome tourists, but how do they market? They're the villagers. We are engaging community. The homestay wala is community fellow. The chef at the in the homestay is a community fellow. The people who are giving them experiences, fishing, hunting, farming, etc., are again from the community. So who's going to market it? Who will reach to the ultimate tourist? So that is how why we needed the digitalization. So in the case of digitalization, India has already taken a big step, and we have a dedicated rural tourism website in India now, which is www.rural.tourism.gov.in. Now, anybody sitting anywhere in any corner of the world, if somebody want to reach to Maharashtra, enjoy the rural tourism in Maharashtra, they have to just go to the website, go to the that particular tab, look at the Maharashtra, and the Maharashtra to rural tourism destinations and villages will be in front of him. He can immediately check on the rural homestays in those particular places. He can immediately contact them and can reach directly to them. So this is what has happened in the digitization. Similarly, a pillar is capacity building, whereby we are looking forward to develop more and more local community, to upskill more and more local community in the sense the villagers, so that they do not migrate to the cities. The young blood of villages does not migrate to the city in the search of their jobs, in the search of the bread and butter. They stay back in their villages, they work for the rural tourism, and they earn from it. So we are trying to develop these particular capacity building and upskilling program. The third pillar for this particular rural tourism strategy was having the state of art infrastructure. State of art in the sense standardization in the services which are being provided at a particular rural homestay. Now, India have a homestay policy. If you ever go to Google and you will type homestay policy in India, then you will find a policy which is known as Incredible India Incredible India Homestay Policy, and B&B, Bread and Breakfast Policy. India already had it. Now, this policies does not specifically talk about the rural homestays. They talk about the homestay in the three category: gold, silver, gold, and bronze. Silver, gold, and diamond. Sorry, silver, gold, and diamond. But they do not talk about how a rural homestay should be. And if a person want to start a rural homestay, what they should do. They do not talk about it. If a villager want to start a rural homestay, they don't talk about it. The national strategies doesn't talk about it. So we developed the national strategy for rural homestays, whereby they will understand that how a rural homestay should be, what is the minimum bed capacity in a rural homestay. Now, I am a villager, I have my house in a village. Of course, I mean, if you have ever been to village, you can understand they do not have big houses. They do not have 3 BHK, 2 BHK, or 5 BHK concept. They might have only 2 or 3 rooms and a big courtyard where the kitchen is in open. The everything is happening in open. वो अगर धान सुखाना है तो वो भी वो ओपन में खाट पे सुखाते हैं. मिर्ची सूख रही होती है, वही मसाले पिस रहे होते हैं, वहीं पे दे हैव द गाय बंधी हुई होती है. They have their everything going on in that huge angan which they have. And there are 3 4 maximum of 3 or 4 rooms which are छोटा छोटा अंदर कच्चा घर या उस तरीके का रूम होता है. So now rural homestay says that minimum of 1 room is enough to start a rural homestay. Why? Because we cannot think about villagers having a big bungalows. And secondly, with the all possible services, with the standardization in the sense, since we are looking forward for international tourists, for global tourists to come, so definitely we need to understand their requirement. Having a western lat bath is their requirement. It is not luxury. Similarly, a proper electricity is the requirement, is not luxury. But we are not telling that it should be 24 hours proper electricity. Maybe there's a daily cut of 2 hours, that's perfectly fine. But during those 2 hours, how do you make your tourists to stay? That is where is important. Similarly, early morning, there's a farm, organic farming happening. Early morning, telling your tourists to go into the farm, pluck out the vegetables they want to eat for today's lunch. So let them take a walk to the farm. Let them know how to cut it, how to take it out, because that is again an art. A farmer knows how to cut its crop, but a common man doesn't know how to cut it.
We have lost your voice, ma'am. Hello.
Ma'am, I guess there's some network issue.
हाँ. एक मिनट, I'll speak to her.
Hello. Yeah, sorry. I guess there was some connection lost. I'm sure I must be audible now.
Now you are audible. In between, we lost you when you were telling कि वो खुद जाके farm पे vegetables
हाँ,
करके
हाँ,
आते हैं.
right.
उसके बाद.
Exactly. So now what happened is, in general, farming is an experience. See, as I said, ki rural tourism is based only on experiences. You don't have anything to show. आपके पास म्यूजियम नहीं होता, किला नहीं होता, आपके पास गड़ी नहीं होती, आपके पास शॉपिंग सेंटर्स नहीं होते, मॉल्स नहीं होते, तो टूरिस्ट करे क्या? टूरिस्ट के पास समय बहुत होता है. वो 2 दिन के लिए आया है, उसके पास पूरे 2 दिन है. What does he do? So nothing. Early morning, take them to the farms. Farmer farm में लेके जा रहा है, वो उनको बता रहा है how to cut the crop, and let them pluck it, let them cut it. आपकी choice है, आपको जो सब्जी खाना है आज आप वो तोड़िए, आप लेके चलिए. Let's go back to the homestay now, and the kitchen is open, so let them sit, let them cut, let them clean. They should know that, okay, how does a Maharashtrian dishes become, जैसे ठेचा होता है आपका, say for example Maharashtrian techa. Now Maharashtrian techa is not common in other part of the country as well as in other part of the world. So if at all you tell them this is how this techa is being done, and then हमारा जो सिलबट्टा होता है, वो सिलबट्टा is not common. The pestle and mortar is not common everywhere, especially globally. तो वो मिलता भी नहीं है. हमारे यहाँ पत्थर का होता है, which is too heavy to even carry. तो उसको आप उस पे बिठाइए, उसको आप सिखाइए कि this is how it is being made. Let them enjoy, let them have their own experiences, let them know चूल्हा पे रोटी कैसे बनती है, let them know बेलते कैसे हैं. This is where you are actually telling specifically the rural tourism. This is the story of rural tourism. So now a farmer having 1 room, 2-3 rooms, 1 room dedicated to tourists, 2 room में उसका family रुका हुआ है, 1 room में tourist रुका हुआ है, and the family is helping to the tourists to create the experiences. Now there must be some local art, शायद locally कोई embroidery होती होगी या कोई painting होती होगी या फिर एक जो हम बोलते हैं लिपाई होती है या फिर मांडना पेंटिंग होती है, गॉन पेंटिंग, ऐसे बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं. So during the afternoon hours when tourist is at leisure, let them enjoy hand on paintings, let them enjoy hand on art. Tell them you take it back, you teach them and tell them you take it back with you, you enjoy it and take it back with you. Sham ko maybe you take them to the tube bell. They must have not seen the hand pump at all, and I'm sure शायद आप में से कई लोगों ने hand pump इन फिजिकल कभी शायद नहीं भी देखा हो, ट्यूबवेल्स नहीं देखे होंगे, इन फिजिकल हैंड पंप्स नहीं देखे होंगे. सो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट रूरल टूरिज्म वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द फर्स्ट थिंग इज व्हाट इज द यूएसपी ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर विलेज टू डेवलप. फार्मिंग, फिशिंग, hunting, or maybe craft, maybe art, maybe dance form. So there must be one USP which you must look for, and based on that USP you will develop that. Now there is one very important form of rural tourism which is very famous in Maharashtra, which is agri-tourism. Agri-tourism has picked up in Maharashtra in such a way that Maharashtra is known for agro-tourism now, because you have a lot of farms in your your Pune, Nasik, Baramati, the Satara, ये वाला जो आपका जो belt है, this is full of farms, and the farmers have been developed, they are being taking up the profession of agro-tourism now. Now why? Because agro-tourism is a dual concept. The first is, as I mentioned, you have the place to stay, let them come, let them enjoy agri settings with you, agri settings, farming and all, let them enjoy. The second is the FPOs. I'm sure you must have heard about FPOs. FPOs is Farmer Producers Organization. Now farmer producer organization is a way how farmers can be helped up to sell their products directly to the ultimate customers. Now these FPOs are being registered for the reason, now I am a tourist, I have come to one of the farm, 2 days I was there in the farm produces a particular kind of crop, say for example wheat, or say for example some other crop. Now I will buy it from FPO, that means the farmers producer organization of that particular farmer. I'll buy it from there directly and I'll go back. Because why do I go to the market and buy in the in a mall? Rather I'll buy directly from here, which is natural, which is organic, and which I know is at the lower price than available in the market. So what is happening in Maharashtra is Maharashtra government, especially Maharashtra Tourist Development Corporation, is combining, it's making a combination of FPOs and agro-tourism, and they're developing this particular form of rural tourism on a very, very speedy note. Even Maharashtra has its own agro-tourism development corporation. This agro-tourism development corporation has a policy of agri-tourism. Now this agri-tourism policy says very simply minimum of 1 room, maximum of 4 room in a 1 acre land. So a farmer who has around up to 1 or 2 acres of up to 2 acres of land, it could be half acre, it could be 1 acre, it could be 2 acre. Now anything within 2 acre, minimum of 1 room a farmer should let to the tourist. That's it. So now with that particular note, you can start the agro-tourism with a farmer can start this concept, and then they can move on. And the policy says there would be definitely help from the government. Government ki help ki, I mean, the incentives would be provided, subsidies would be provided. Apart from that, you would be that particular farmer would be registered as an agro-tourism business or agro-tourism farm stay. This would be registered. And then the third important thing is, it's very clearly mentioned there should be some form of USP. So if that particular village has an old well, say for example step well, पुराना कुआं है, तो कुछ नहीं तो आपको उसके कुएं तक वॉक करा के लेके जाना है. डेवलप अ नेचर वॉक, डेवलप अ हेरिटेज वॉक, डेवलप अ नेचर ट्रेल. आप उस पगडंडी के रास्ते से आप उनको वहां पे लेके गए, उस कुएं की स्टोरी बताई आपने कि इतना साल पुराना कुआं है, अभी भी नेचुरली पानी आता है. द रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग सिस्टम जो आज हम पढ़ते हैं, दिस इज अ नेचुरल रेन वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग सिस्टम. इसमें हर बारिश में पानी भरता है, विच इज बीइंग रीयूज्ड. सो यू आर क्रिएटिंग स्टोरी stories nearby that particular कुआ, आप कुएं से पानी कैसे निकालते हैं उनको सिखाइए, let them do that, पानी निकालने दीजिए, पानी निकाल करके let them flush on the crops and the खेत and all, and let them enjoy. उधर ही कुएं के पास में कोई बड़ा पेड़ है, वहां पे आपने एक झूला डाल दिया, आम के पेड़ पे झूला डला है, एंड जो आपके जो टूरिस्ट हैं, दे आर एंजॉयिंग दैट झूला, दैट स्विंग. सो दैट स्विंग which cost 1 lakh rupees with full fledged वो जो बढ़िया वाला आता है बम्बू स्विंग, वो भी इस नेचुरल स्विंग के आगे फेल हो जाएगा. क्यों? क्योंकि it's a natural swing which tourists might not have experienced anywhere else. So your agri-tourism policy of Maharashtra also says that there should be some USP, and you need to create experience in nearby those USPs, and then you can register, you can become an owner of a farm stay, you can start your own agri-tourism business. So one form of rural tourism which is very much famous in Maharashtra is basically the agro-tourism. Even the father of agro-tourism for India, Pandurang Tavre, Shri Pandurang Tavre is from Baramati only. He runs his own center also, and he even gives workshops. So if anybody of you want to come up as an entrepreneur in rural tourism, not rural, specifically in agri-tourism, because agri is part of rural, one of the part of rural. So if you want to become an entrepreneur, you can join his workshop. He conducts this workshop whereby you can learn that how to develop this particular agri farms, and how to how to get registration done, how to get the licenses and all those things. And he does this particular course for, but at the same time you need to have a farmer along with you for this. This is the key concept. You cannot take it up as an individual, as in private player. If you know any farmer who can come along with on board, then that is the best, because the registration and everything would be definitely done. If you want to get the subsidy, incentive and everything would be taken up in the name of the farmer. So one form of tourism which is happening here is this. The second form of tourism which is very much famous is the farm stays. You must have heard about farm stays, eco-tourism, eco-villages, eco-friendly villages, those villages where you are zero carbon footprint. There is no, it is in the outset of somewhere you would find it is the rooms on the, like the tree houses on the tree and the old trees. So eco stays are very famous, farm stays are very famous. And then we have three of the, right now, one of our village has already been awarded in the year 2020 by UNWTO, in the year 2021 by UNWTO as the best, one of the best village of India, which is Pochampalli, which is in Telangana. From Hyderabad, it is around 40-45 kilometers away. Now, Telangana's USP is its handicraft, it's cloth, it's handloom cloth, which is known as ikat. Now, two other villages which were nominated during that time was, one is Mailong. Mailong is in Meghalaya, which is known as Green Village. Green Village because it has zero plastic, zero wastage. It is the green village of India. And another was the Lajpura caste, which is in nearby Orcha in Madhya Pradesh. And this Lajpura caste is known for its best practice, which is farm to plate. Farm to plate in the sense, as I said, farm stays. So they have developed the organic farming and nearby their, where the villagers have converted their houses into the homestays, and they developed this organic farming, whereby people they pick up they take their own vegetables, they cut it, they make it, they eat it, they enjoy it. So these three villages at present are known as the best example of our rural tourism villages in India. Among them, one is being awarded by UNWTO. In last year, in 2022, Kohnama from Nagaland was taken up in their rural tourism development program of UNWTO. Now, India has also launched its first edition of Best Rural Tourism Village this year. It was launched on 16th of February by Honorable Tourism Minister of India, and it is still running. 5th of May is the last date for application for the rural tourism villages. And this particular rural tourism village competition is happening for the first time. We have already received more than 300 villages entries, and it's still going on. So India has already launched its best rural tourism village competition. We are working towards developing the operational guidelines for the rural homestay, for developing the rural homestay. So if you want to become a rural homestay entrepreneur, we are trying to develop operational guidelines, so that is kind of a manual which will come out soon. In the next 2-3 months it will come out, so that you can just look into what is the steps to be followed. We are also working on the best practices of rural tourism villages in India, so that one practice, if somebody else, some village want to get developed into tourism, they can just look into the best practices, they can replicate that in their own village, and they can work upon it. So government of India has already working in this particular form of tourism, niche tourism, on a very speedy note. Currently we are also developing a model of a model of rural tourism cluster. Rural tourism village cluster. Our team of 25 people is there in Uttarakhand today. I mean, from last 3 days, they are in Uttarakhand only. We are trying to develop 3 villages cluster, and we are trying to develop it as a model, as a first, it's a pilot cluster which would be developed, and this would be then replicated all over the country. And so this is how the rural tourism is developing in India. This is how we are working in India. We are also planning to undertake MOUs with different universities for running up the rural tourism courses, for running even not only in India. We are in words with the foreign universities also, so that we can do student exchange program from Indian university. We can send students to the foreign university to understand how the rural tourism is being taken up in other countries, how they are working upon it. So there are a lot which is happening in rural tourism. And now I think I should stop talking, and I should let you people talk now. And you people, I mean, you are free to take on your curiosity.
We were
Sonali?
we were really lost in listening to you. Such wonderful speech, ma'am.
No, not at all.
One thing I wanted to ask you about this
Yes.
homestays when develop. तो
Yes.
इन कंप्यूटर और कैसे बुकिंग्स लेते हैं? Do they
See,
learn?
I missed out that. I'll tell you one thing. When you develop a homestay, then there are 2 things. The one is you need to be registered with the state homestay policy, and if not with the state homestay policy, at least with this national homestay policy. Once you are registered with homestay policy, then you get a registration number. Then the second step is India has developed a portal called Nidhi Plus portal. This Nidhi Plus portal is one stop, one nation, one registration kind of portal, whereby you need to register your registered homestay. You need to enter the details of your registered homestay in this Nidhi Plus portal. As soon as you are in Nidhi Plus portal, you are open in the global market. And as well as you are directly connected to us in Rural Tourism India website also, you will be flashed. Now anybody sitting anywhere in India, as soon as they put on rural tourism or rural tourism homestay, then immediately Nidhi Plus portal will be they will divert it to the Nidhi Plus. As well as the moment you put in the Google, the first one which comes is our Rural Tourism India portal in search engine. So this is the way how you can market through government, the first thing. The second thing, if you want to get into rural tourism marketing in a private manner, the best would be connect to the travel agents and tour operators nearby you. Like for example, if you are developing a rural homestay in nearby Satara or nearby Pune or nearby
Yeah, again we have lost you. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, now you
Yeah.
were not audible in between. Yeah.
I know there was some network issue happening.
Yeah.
So I was just telling, like, if you want to work upon it, then what you need to do is you need to connect to the travel agents and tour operators of your nearby areas.
Yeah.
So what happened is, say for example, if your nearby travel agent is having a group in Mumbai, what they do is they make an itinerary whereby they can stay in 2 days in Mumbai, 3 days in Mumbai, and one night overnight stay in your rural homestay nearby. Because tourists always want to enjoy such settings. So you need to connect to your travel agents and tour operators working in your area for this ground, for this bookings, for the purpose of bookings, apart from government.
Okay. तो ये लोग को डायरेक्टली अंडरस्टैंड करने की जरूरत नहीं, बिकॉज एवरी विलेजर वोंट बी नोइंग और हैविंग दोस स्किल्स, और दे विल टेक टाइम टू
No,
लर्न.
no. Directly, they don't have to do. See, when you develop a rural homestay, no, the mandatory is use villagers and local community in the homestay on different roles.
Okay.
Marketing is your call, but they have to be there. Say, for example, as a housekeeping, you can use them. As in chef, you can use them. As in, reception pay, you can use them. You can use them to take them to the nature walk, to take them to the field. खेत पे लेके जाना है, stories सुनाना है. उन सब कामों में आप जो है local community को villagers को,
Okay.
but not for the marketing purpose.
हाँ, yeah. Okay. Any questions, students? It's open for questions, just now. Or can you tell us something about your book, ma'am, which you have written?
I just wanted to know. There's no question. No, nobody has a question.
Pooja has some question, I think. Pooja, yes, please go ahead.
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to ask, what can we do to make the rural tourism more sustainable?
See, rural tourism is just a beginning. It is at beginning stage. So when you talk about how do we think about making it sustainable, then as I said, it's just the beginning. We need to think about sustainably, retaining and sustaining rural when it comes to maturity. But since it's just at the beginning, as I mentioned, we have more than 6 lakh villages, right? But when I talk about a competition, national competition, we received entries of only 300 entries. So that means we are still just beginning with this concept. We're just still trying to move on. When it comes to sustainability, then rural tourism look for few form of sustainability which has to understand. The first is economic sustainability. Now, rural tourism can be sustained if you are making the local villagers and local community economically sustainable by the rural tourism experiences. If they are happy, they are satisfied, they are earning their bread and butter, nothing will happen to your rural tourism at all. You need to talk about social sustainability. Social sustainability in the sense, we do not want to hamper our villagers, hamper our village settings, hamper our village life. So you need to understand that no tourist is making any problem or creating any kind of negative impact on the villages and on the villagers. So that is second, because we have been, our over tourism has always faced the problem in our country. We have the case of Goa, we have the case of Pushkar, where Pushkar has banned the foreigners for longer period of time. Similarly, Goa had banned the foreigners for longer period of time. The specifically the hippies were banned. So we have seen a lot of cases where we could see that the over marketing, over tourism has led to the negative social impact. Similarly, the third sustainability which you need to maintain is the environment sustainability. So as I mentioned, it shouldn't be, you should not bring in the city into the rural, rather the rurality has to be kept in mind. So if in rural setting, if they eat in normal steel ka thali, let it be normal steel ka thali, no plastic or melamine should be taken in account. So that environmental sustainability, no cutting of trees, let the tree be the tree house, let the tree has a swing. So there should not be this environmental sustainability, this ecological balance needs to be maintained. So there are few forms of sustainability which has to be maintained. This sustainability can be maintained only by the villagers, definitely, and only by the people who are working in this particular field. So if you are an owner, you need to understand this. And for the same, As I mentioned, there would be the resource centers very soon have developing in India. These resource centers would be doing the auditing of all the rural homestays in rural villages, and then if we find anything in faulty, then they might shut down those. So there would be a lot of things happening. It's just the beginning. We have just started up. So there would be a lot of things, but at the same time, one needs to understand opening a rural tourism, business. They need to understand where they stand and what is their responsibility.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Tanvi
Yes, ma'am.
wants to ask. Yes, Tanvi?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Tanvi, go ahead.
Yes, yes. My question is, as tourism professionals now, when we are in the industry, what can be our contribution, or what can we actually do?
Uh, there are two things. The first is, like, of course, promote. If I'll not talk about only rural tourism, but promote Indian tourism as much as possible. Promote the rural destinations of your nearby places. If they're already there, if they're working, if they have tourists, try to promote them on different platforms. And the good thing is that youngsters are very active in the social media, and social media has become the biggest tool of advertising these days. I could see, I mean, we are little lethargic in posting reels and making the videos and making the those photographic content, but you people are quite innovative, so promote them as much as possible. At present, the major market for any tourism business is social media. So today only I was just going through this one of the reel. I just share my experience. I was going through one of the reel. This is a reel from there was some, this reel was from Rishikesh, and this particular fellow who has just shared this reel, they have made some beautiful bubble resorts, stays in Kantal nearby Rishikesh. So he was just, she shared some reel. There was some actually visitor who shared some reel, and I was looking at that reel. I went to that particular social handle, वो जो भी organization है उसका social handle पे गई, कीकूस करके है, and then I asked them, what is your price, what is your rate, what is your package. So this is how the business is happening these days. So one thing is, as a tourism professional, try to explore, try to promote. Two things important. Try to explore, because tourism is not the virtual world. Tourism is step out, explore, and promote. And the second, of course, if you want to come up in a business as an entrepreneur, then have more and more networking, have more and more people know you, so that you can create more and more business. And as last thing is, like, if you want to promote rural tourism, follow Rural Tourism India page. We are on all social media handles with the same name, Rural Tourism India. Follow us. I'm sure, share us, repost us. That is another contribution we'll make it towards it. I hope it's clear. Tanvi?
Yeah. Tanvi?
Yes, I also want to know what employment opportunities are there for youngsters like us in this.
For youngsters, there are a lot of employment opportunities. The major opportunity, I would say, is ki try to develop your own homestays. See, we are looking forward for more and more homestays. Try to develop your own homestay. Homestay does not need any investment. So you can start looking up, you can start registering with Incredible India Bread and Breakfast program. Register with that, and then you can slowly move on. That can be even done in your, if you're in Mumbai, if you're in city, that you can even have a homestay in Mumbai city. And slowly, when you will understand the concept of homestay, the concept, how does we talk about it, you can move into the rural settings. When you move into rural settings, try to get connected to some farmer, some rural villagers. I mean, both of you can come into some contract. You can think about developing a rural homestay then. So the first and foremost thing is entrepreneurship is most important. The second opportunity, if I talk about, is the nature walk leaders, the rural walk leaders. You can create rural packages. You can create rural tourism packages. I already told that Maharashtra is known for agro-tourism. So, there is a huge inflow of agri-tourists in your state. So you can think about it, you can create such packages, and even you can take up people, you can you can develop the solo women packages, kind of. You can develop only women packages to these rural tourism villages, let them come, safety, security. There you can have industrial tours, you can develop educational tours. So such kind of things you can easily develop. And one more thing is, you can also, I mean, all of you, I'll tell you, all of you guys can register with our Incredible India Tourist Facilitator program. This is a self-paced learning module which is from Government of India. Once you do this IITFC, which is known as IITFC, it's at 3 level. The first is the basic, the second is Heritage Advanced course, then you have the Adventure Advanced course also, and we are planning to come up with Rural Advanced course also. So right now the current working is operational course is the basic course and the Heritage Advanced course. So once you complete this basic course, you become a certified guide of your area, whatever area you choose in basic. And then you do this heritage course, then whatever state you choose, you become the certified heritage tourist guide of that state. So this is a very good, and the fees is very nominal. The fees for basic course is just rupees 2000 with a 50% off to the women's, so it's just 1000 rupees. So you can log on to Google IITFC. Once you will put IITFC, you will get all the details. Otherwise, you can get connected through Sonali ma'am to me. I would suggest every one of you to take up this. This is a Ministry of Tourism slice. It's a certificate guiding program. So you can become a guide also. You can become a certified guide for rural villages. And the good thing is, your profile will be loaded in our e-marketplace, which is again Ministry of Tourism, Government of India regulated. So the moment I'm now, say for example, you are working for 5 days, only Saturday Sunday you are free for such guiding projects. So in your profile in e-marketplace, you will write free guiding services only on Saturday and Sunday. Now if somebody is visiting during weekend that place, they can connect to you directly. They'll pay your services, they'll pay for your services directly, and you will guide them. So you can do this particular form of occupation even with your normal employment which is going on. So this is, I would advise everybody to look for.
That's very wonderful information, मैम. Secondly, मुझे पूछना था आपको ऐसे कि जैसे महाराष्ट्र एग्रो टूरिज्म में अग्रसर है, वैसे विलेज रूरल टूरिज्म में कौन सा स्टेट आगे है? Which state is famous for?
Rural tourism के लिए Kerala is one of the aggregator in rural tourism. Kerala में we have the maximum villages which are developed in rural tourism. And after Kerala, then we have maximum villages developed in northeast. Northeast is famous, like Kohima. Northeast में बहुत सारे villages हैं जो Mailang, जो rural से उसमें काम कर रहे हैं. Then Kerala, northeast. Then we have Himachal. And अगर आप होम स्टेज में देखेंगे तो केरला हो गया, आपका हिमाचल हो गया, उत्तराखंड हो गया, इनमें मैक्सिमम होम स्टेज. एंड देन कम्स द मध्य प्रदेश. आई मीन अगर मैं टॉप 5 की बात करूं तो केरला, नॉर्थ ईस्ट, उत्तराखंड, मध्य प्रदेश, ये हिमाचल, ये सारे जो जगह ये रूरल टूरिज्म में दे आर इन फर्स्ट 5.
ओके.
Any other question, anybody of you? No, if there's no question, then ma'am had asked me to talk about my book.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I'll just give a gist. I have authored 2 books. The first was on the heritage and cultural resources of India. ये जो book है, this book talks about all the 36 states and UTs, and this has the gist of all the all form of resources which are available. Like for example, if you take up the Goa, then it talks about all the beaches. It talks about all the other forms of tourism like churches, beaches, temples. Similarly, for every state, it's talk about all the major cities, major tourist destinations, and their tourism products. So it is basically a whole a dictionary, kind of a book on tourism products of India, which is related to heritage and culture. Though tourist attraction also, which are not related, we have not mentioned much. But apart from that, we have mentioned about the GI tag, we have mentioned about the geographical locations, everything else is mentioned. So that is the first book. The second book which I had authored is on basically on Chambal region. So the second book is known as Resurrecting Chambal, and it talks about the dark tourism, the possibility of the development of tourism in Chambal area. So it covers the all the 8 districts of Chambal region and how further development can happen in Chambal region. So these are the two books which I have authored yet till date.
ओके मैम, ऐसे कुछ रूरल टूरिज्म में आप होम स्टेज और कुछ ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट डेवलप करते टाइम कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी आपको शेयर कर, यू वुड लाइक टू शेयर विद अस?
अभी रूरल टूरिज्म की अगर जैसे मैं बात करूं तो एज आई वाज जस्ट टेलिंग कि अभी वी जस्ट started initiating started work on developing a rural cluster. Now I'll share this experience. Our minister, minister of tourism, had gone to France during one of his visit, and he visited a rural tourism cluster in France, which is the Saint Gervais करके एक rural tourism village cluster है Saint Gervais France में. Now the unique point of this particular Saint Xavier's cluster was there were a group of 4 villages. The first village was the entry point and the last village was the exit point. And from entry point, the you know the whole all 4 villages are connected by ropeway. So one has to park their vehicle, and then at the entry point they use the ropeway to reach to all these villages. They enjoy all these villages, and then they come back from the last point, they come back to the ropeway and they take their car if they are by their car. And this particular France village was also known for it as a winter destination, because it is one of the prominent winter sports destination in France. Now, when our honorable minister of tourism visited there, so he saw all these things. He came back, and then he immediately told us that you also need to work. India needs to work for some cluster here in our country. So we started looking for which cluster to develop. We picked up. There's one more thing which I would like to mention here. We also have a program called Vibrant Villages program. Now, this Vibrant Villages program is for the border villages of India, for the development of the border villages of India, those villages who are on the border. Now, border of maybe China border, maybe Tibet border पे हो या Bhutan border पे हो या Bangladesh border, तो ये वाले जो border villages हैं. So our minister wanted that vibrant villages should be taken into account while developing this particular model cluster for India. So we initiated our search, and then we had taken up Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand में हमने 4 अलग अलग क्लस्टर डेवलप किए. उन 4 अलग अलग क्लस्टर को समझने की कोशिश की कि कनेक्टिविटी कहाँ पे बनती है, कहाँ पे हम लोग जा सकते हैं, कहाँ पे रोड अवेलेबल है, कहाँ पे होम स्टे डेवलप हो सकते हैं, कहाँ पे विलेजर्स उतने विलिंग होंगे कि हाँ हम वहां पे अगर डेवलपमेंट करें तो विलेजर्स कैन टेक अप दी रूरल टूरिज्म अपॉर्चुनिटीज, होम स्टेज बनाए. तो वी हैव टेकन ऑल दोस सर्वेज एंड ऑल, एवरीथिंग वाज डन. देयर वाज राउंड ऑफ मीटिंग्स वर देयर. मिनिस्टर हिमसेल्फ हैज गॉन टू ईच क्लस्टर टू अंडरस्टैंड कि हम जो बोल रहे हैं वो सच बोल रहे हैं कि नहीं, किस हद तक टूरिस्ट को प्रॉब्लम होगी, किस हद तक टूरिस्ट सेफ रहेगा. एंड देन फाइनली ही banged on one cluster जिसपे अभी हमारी टीम गई हुई है. They have already gone for the fam tour there, and among this cluster one of the village which we have chosen is known as Jadong. Now Jadong is the last village in the Uttarakhand, and Indo-China border पे है. और द यूएसपी इसकी 1962 का जो वॉर हुआ था, उस वॉर में दिस वाज द फर्स्ट विलेज टू अटैक. And this village was evacuated during that time. उस समय इस village को evacuate किया, और इनके जो settlement थे वो बाकी villages पे चले गए, जो भी inhabitants थे. उसके बाद ये village कभी भी develop ही नहीं हुआ. So now we are trying to revive the village. We are trying to develop a war museum in this particular village. We We are trying to develop the astronauts in this village, and we are trying to, we are trying to recall the villagers from the different places जहाँ पे भी इनके inhabitants गए थे. We are trying to recall them there so that we can just create the whole village or relive the whole village. So this is what is in plan. So this is one of the in things which I wanted to share with these students, that this is what is happening. This is real time, and this is what is happening in India right now. We have already done a farm tour. On 25th, our trip would be, our tour would be ending, and then we'll submit our report to the ministry.
Okay. That's interesting. Any questions, students? Ma'am, if suppose they want to connect with you, can they write you on email?
They can write me on email. I mean, they can follow me on social media also. I'm available on all social media. So these days, social media is the easiest way to connect. So they
Yes.
can follow me on social media. You can write on email. Ma'am, you can get my email ID. You
Yeah.
can also follow our Rural Tourism India page. We are on Twitter, Insta. You can also write to the website. I mean, you go to the website, Rural Tourism India website. वहां पे भी हमारा ऑफिशियल ईमेल आईडी दिया हुआ है. So if anywhere can't get into, to me, any from you can get into there.
Okay.
But you can definitely get in touch with me for all kind of help you need.
Yes. Okay. If not any questions, then first, before that, let us take pictures. Prathamesh, can I request you to take picture, please? Everyone, please keep your mobile cams on. कैमरा ऑन रखो, फिर एक पिक्चर लेते हैं हम लोग. Are you there, Prathamesh? Yeah. Camera on ठेवा. Prathamesh, you're doing recording? Yeah. So I think we'll have to stop the recording to take the click, right? Or should I tell someone else to take the click? Who can take? Advait, can you take?
Ma'am, I'm connected on my phone.
हाँ ठीक है, मी घेते. And once you put the camera recording of that time, also you also take, Prathamesh. I am taking now. Yes, Prathamesh, then later once we give vote of thanks, then later you stop the recording and then again you click one or two pictures. Okay? Yeah. Tanvi, can I request you to formally give thanks to ma'am and everyone and close the session, please? You are not audible, Tanvi.
I think she's on mute.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Am I audible now? Yeah. So
Yes.
on behalf of Masters of Tourism and Travel Management, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to you, Kamakshi ma'am, for delivering an enlightening and informative seminar on rural and heritage tourism. It was a pleasure to have you today with us. Your expertise and experience in this field truly shone through during our session. Your insights, example, and real life experiences have enriched the understanding and provided us with valuable takeaways that we can apply. Once again, thank you for sharing your expertise with us. We hope to have more opportunities to learn from you in the future. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And
Thanks so much, ma'am, Kamakshi ma'am. It
not
was
at all,
really a
ma'am.
pleasure since when we were trying to adjust our schedule because all students are also working. So, to match with their timing. Because we all were sure that definitely we are really going to learn so much from you and hands-on experience about rural tourism. It was very interesting to know.
No, it was my pleasure rather being here and talking to all of your students, because these are the young bloods, and
Yes.
we need them. We need them a lot in our industry.
Yeah. And
So they're the right kind of people we are looking forward. And thank you very much, Sonali ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to interact with your student. It was pleasure being here.
thanks, ma'am. Pleasure is mine. And our students are really wonderful. They are so versatile and they're so intelligent. I'm sure they will make best out of it.
I could feel that. And I mean, for all of you, feel free to connect me for any help you people want.
Yeah, I think Aniket, you morning only was discussing with me that he wanted to ask about being tour guide के लिए क्या courses होते हैं and all that. I think you answered that. This question was
Yes.
morning is asking. Yeah,
I
he
mean, this
wanted to ask you that.
this is for every or each one of you. Don't forget to join IITFC. This is an added advantage to all of you. And ma'am, I should tell you that this particular course can be done by you also. I mean, there is
Okay.
no age bar. There is nothing at all. Anybody who's +2 can take up this course. So, and you can work as per your leisure hours. The time
Yes.
you want to work, you can work upon it. So, I mean, everybody of you, it is an added advantage. Do join this course.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, ma'am. Prathamesh, you stop recording and take one photo, please.